Alright. Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling match review. I feel like nowadays, in present day 2026, Cody Rhodes is someone you either like or you really dislike. And me, I personally like Cody Rhodes, but there is no denying how gutsy of a performance this is. Perhaps uh, one of the riskiest, uh, ballsiest in a way performances from Cody Rhodes to cap off of what to cap off the final Hell in a Cell pay-per-view / premium live event, and to cap off his rivalry with Seth Rollins. Let's do it, man. I'm talking about Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes at Hell in a Cell 2022. Now, as always, I'm not professional wrestling match reviewer or analyst or anything like that, just a man who enjoys a good time, and I had a very good time watching this match for the most part, and I'll explain why. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works, or at least you have an idea of how this works. However, if you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about the match. As for how we got here, as I mentioned, Cody and Seth had been feuding up to this point. Cody Rhodes had returned at WrestleMania 38 as Seth Rollins' mystery opponent, as handpicked by Vince McMahon. And he beat Seth there. They rematched at WrestleMania Backlash, which I reviewed last month. If you haven't already, go check out that review. And Cody won that one. So now Seth is his 0-2 against Cody. So now very much looking for redemption. And the main way to conclude the feud is within Hell in a Cell. And like I said, this was the last Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event. After this, Hell in a Cell would kind of go back to serving the purpose that it originally served, where it was feud enders as opposed to being in a dedicated event. Now, some people do feel the Hell in a Cell should make a more regular comeback. Like there are people who noted that 2025 didn't have a single Hell in a Cell match. I think that having it be a feud ender where the feud's so intense that it needs a Hell in a Cell, I think is a much better use of it. For example, if they're going to continue the Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu feud after Clash in Italy, which is this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, then I wouldn't mind seeing it in Hell in a Cell. But we will have to wait and see. Let's see when Clash in Italy. Oh, okay. Clash in Italy is actually on Sunday. Hey, man, it's been a while since we had a pay-per-view / premium live event from WWE on a Sunday, I feel like. But nevertheless, so this was the swan song for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event, and having it being main evented by Cody and Seth, I think. Very smart move, especially in terms of this feud, especially because this was around that time when Roman had not too long ago just become double champion and was essentially nowhere to be found, which kind of sucked, but I think capping it off here in Hell in a Cell, I think, was a very smart move. And you know what? I've delayed it long enough. It's time to talk about that injury. Yep, if I had to look at it, you'd do too. Now, apparently this happened, I believe it was first torn, I believe they said, and like the timeline of when exactly the pectoral muscle was torn is kind of disputed, but from my understanding, it was torn on Friday. There were people saying it might have been torn on Raw, but I believe it may have been torn that Monday on Raw with the segment between them on the go home for Hell in a Cell, and then torn off the bone on Friday when Cody was training, and I believe that's the timeline. But either way, torn completely off the bone. And oh boy, when we first saw it, and Cody still going through with the match is absolutely insane. So Cody shows up, even in his entrance, like he's barely able to lift his arm. Like even when he does lift his arm, because he does on occasion during his entrance, you can see him like wincing and everything. Cody very much hurt. And then he takes his jacket off. And the stunned silence from the crowd. Ooh, like people like by this time it had hit the new it had hit like the I don't even want to call it the rumor mill. It pretty much was in the news. People knew Cody was hurt. They knew he tore his pectoral. Oh, we didn't know how bad it was or how bad it looked just yet. And so when Cody took off his jacket, it was an absolute shock to everyone, myself included, watching at home. Literally, so sometimes my dad will come in to my room and kind of check out the pay-per-view with me. As soon as Cody took his jacket off and revealed the injury, he literally got up and left, which was really funny. But yeah, Cody, and I remember, I forgot who it was on commentary. It might have been, let me see who was on commentary for or the evening. It might have been, commentary. It was either Jimmy Smith or Byron Saxton who said, we talked about Cody not being 100%. 50 would be lucky, and he was not lying, because that injury looked really bad. And there were people disputing whether or not it was like exaggerated, like put paint on it or something, or if that's truly how it looked. But either way, it looked really nasty. And for me personally, I'm thankful that I've never broken a bone, except for when I was a baby. Fun fact about me: when I was very, very young in a accident and that happened, I accidentally fell down the stairs when I was very young. I broke my clavicle bone, but I am fortunate that as a kid growing up and as like a teenager now as an adult, I've never broken a bone and I've never torn a muscle or anything like that. I'm thankful that I've never done something like that. Now that I'm older, I can actually feel it and remember it, and I've come close on some occasions, but I've never actually torn anything. I think so. I can't imagine the pain that Cody was feeling in that moment, and for him to still, be willing to do this match, willing to go out for this match, absolutely nuts. And Seth, to Seth's credit, first of all, Seth coming out with the Dusty Rhodes polka dot gear was actually really funny. But I imagine Seth, when Cody took off his jacket, on the outside, Seth was like laughing and everything. I imagine because he was in character, he was heel and everything. I imagine on the inside, though, he was probably freaking out. Even if he like knew beforehand, if he like saw the injury beforehand, he was probably still freaking out on the inside. I know I would be like if I was going into a wrestling match, which I'm not a wrestler, have no plans on being a wrestler, at least not anytime soon. But if I was going into a wrestling match and my opponent was banged up, in that regard, or with an injury as like gruesome as that, at like going into a match, I would be like, ooh, I would be terrified to like hurt my opponent or cause them any more pain than the pain they were already in. And the irony of Cody facing Seth Rollins is not lost on me. Seth, someone who also had a very bad injury that kept him on the sideline for the rest of 2015 into 2016. Except at least Seth's was at a house show. But Cody, this was on TV, live in front of God and everybody, and he has this injury. And I guess starting with what I like, now that I spent about 9 minutes talking about Cody and his injury, he's starting with what I liked. This isn't a short match. Cody goes almost a half hour, or actually almost 25 minutes. He goes 24 minutes, 20 seconds, but almost 25 minutes in this match. If this was like a quick squash, just as grab Seth, crossroads, and then get out of there, yeah, it would have been disappointing, but I don't think anybody would have blamed him. But the fact that Cody was willing to wrestle a full length match against Seth, take actual bumps, he takes a table bump, he goes right through the table. Well, Seth even like takes a kendo stick and like digs into the injury, which looked absolutely nasty. Like the fact that Cody's willing to go through that for the sake of this match, and it's like absolute hats off, because I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I don't know if I'd be willing to do that. But Cody, to his credit, he does it. He sucks it up. He toughs it out, and he does it. Like to go the distance of like a full length match, actually taking bumps and everything in this match, like kicking out. We even get like Cody cutters, crossroads. We even get like a spot with like a bull rope. Or like the cowbell, I think. And, it might have been both. And then, um, like stuff like that. For Cody to go through all of that while having this really nasty injury, like all the props in the world. Like, hey, and there's been plenty of wrestlers and plenty of matches where they've had to tough through injuries. He's probably even worse than that one, and that, and he's always like that wrestler always has my absolute respect. And then Cody definitely earned it there. And the way the match ended, even with Cody nailing, Seth with the sledgehammer, the proverbial sledgehammer representing Seth's mentor in a way, Triple H, and Cody, of course, breaking the throne in AEW, who with the hammer and everything, for that to come full circle in this moment, in very symbolic moment, I think was like the perfect way to end off this match. Yeah, you could have ended the match with like a crossroads, like a definitive crossroads. I think Seth took like 3 or 4 in this match. I forget exactly off the top of my head, but for it to end very symbolically with the sledgehammer, I think was very well done. And yeah, just all the props in the world to Cody. Unfortunately, Cody, they would write him off on Raw. Cody would unfortunately be out for the rest of 2022. He wouldn't come back until the 2023 Royal Rumble, which he would go on to win. But it does make you wonder what the rest of 2022 would have looked like had Cody Rhodes still been there, had he not gotten this injury. But injured he was, but man, to go out in such a big way, to go out fighting in this way, I think very well done. And of course, this match got 5 stars from Dave Meltzer. If you like, I don't know how you guys feel about Dave Meltzer and his opinions, but I think very much, very well deserved was Cody. He was Cody and Seth getting the 5-star marks. If I had to find something to dislike about this match, admittedly, wrestling with an injury like that is probably not advised. Like Cody, he love you, man. All the respect in the world. Please don't do that again, because that was like just absolutely nuts. And like, and going after the injury and everything, it was pretty uncomfortable at times. And it's understandably because of how bad this injury was. But the injury was like the big focal point of the match. I do wonder what the match would have looked like without the injury, but I think the injury added so much, for better or for worse, in this match. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on those post notifications so you know every single time I upload videos, so you never miss an upload. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on this match, my review of the match. If you like the match, if you like my review of the match, let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.